2020 has been an absolute roller coaster of a year for all of us, producing a multitude of unexpected challenges, but also incredible wildlife encounters along the way. We've traveled to every part of North Carolina, from coastal lowlands to the Blue Ridge Mountains, exploring and uncovering hidden wildlife. In today's video, I wanted to share my top 5 favorite wildlife encounters of 2020 with all of you. Let's get started with my number 5 favorite wildlife encounter of the year, the Osprey. Now, if you've been following my adventures for any length of time, you know that I'm not very well versed in ornithology, but filming this Osprey family in southern Florida was one of my absolute favorite bird encounters of all time. It was a total surprise to be able to get within 30 yards or so of the nest and capture behavior such as hunting, eating, and feeding chicks on camera. I'm a total sucker for cool natural history moments, so being able to film an osprey absolutely demolishing a fish had me totally freaking out. This encounter makes the list because not only was it unexpected, it ended up producing some of my favorite bird footage of all time. I mean, come on, the thing just looks awesome. Coming in at the number 4 spot is a relatively common snake that I'd never had a chance to film on the wild, but I'd searched for year after year. The eastern cottonmouth is a pretty famous serpent here in the southeastern US, and while it's only found in North Carolina's coastal plain, I've heard people in all parts of the state tell me that they've seen, and killed, this species. My lifer North Carolina cottonmouth was discovered while road cruising some beautiful coastal habitat in mid-August, and I couldn't have asked for a nicer looking individual. And it stayed still long enough for me to get some great threat display shots. I'm so glad that I was finally able to feature the eastern cottonmouth on my channel, and it was definitely one of my favorite wildlife encounters of the year. Third on the list is an incredibly charismatic and fun to film snake that slithered onto the Wild Report for the very first time this October. While this species can be found throughout the entire state of North Carolina, their unique diet and habitat preferences mean that hognose snakes are seldom seen unless you get really lucky or herp the right habitat at the right time of year. We hiked up this absolutely stunning individual on a cloudy and cool morning in early fall, which is actually perfect weather for these cool-loving reptiles. A fully grown adult with an attitude, we were treated to a full temper tantrum, including hood extension, false striking, and lots of hissing. The eastern hognose snake was a totally unexpected capstone to an already incredible year of herping, and comes in barely behind the number 1 and 2 spots on my list. Okay, so I know it's cheating, but the number 1 and 2 favorite wildlife encounters of 2020 are actually tied. Now, these 2 encounters happened within hours of each other on the same night, and I still can't decide which one had me more excited. So what 2 encounters are tied for number 1? Well, that title goes to the Carolina Pygmy rattlesnake and the eastern mudsnake. On an unassuming August night on the coast, Thomas and I were targeting pygmy rattlesnakes, but the weather wasn't great and had us nervous. Earlier in the evening, we'd hiked around some good-looking habitat for a few hours, and didn't turn up a single snake of any species. So, we started road cruising right as the sun set, and saw a bright red angler noodle crossing within the first half an hour. I was already bouncing off the walls with excitement, and could barely hold my camera still as we admired the stunning little pit viper. This individual in particular was an absolutely fantastic subject, remaining coiled up on the road long enough for me to film my entire segment, before deciding to head back into the thick underbrush. It's not every day you get a chance to see the smallest rattlesnake in the world, especially in its natural habitat, and after an encounter like that, my whole herping season was made. And then, 3 hours of cruising later, a baby eastern mudsnake wiggled across the road. This individual was so small that at first glance, Thomas and I thought it was an adult black swamp snake, which we were actually targeting. But as soon as I walked up to it, there was no mistaking the telltale, shiny black dorsum and vibrant orange belly. I was already bursting to the seams with excitement after the pig, and could hardly even process the fact that we had just found my lifer eastern mudsnake when we weren't even targeting the species. One of the most unique snakes in North Carolina, in the southeastern US at large. Eastern muds are fully aquatic, and it's extremely rare to see them out at all when it's not actively raining, let alone a baby crossing a road on a completely dry night. The utter shock of finding and filming this little guy was enough to push him to the top of my list, and the whole experience was made even better by the vibrance and contrast of his coloration. I may never see a more perfect mud snake as long as I live, and if I don't, I'll die a happy man. Okay, so maybe I do want to see a fully grown eastern mud snake before I die. And then we never found the black swamp snake, and I still need a rainbow and an eastern diamondback. Alright everyone, those are my top 5 favorite wildlife encounters of the year. Before I sign out, I want to extend a huge thank you to all of my subscribers. Having you beside me on my adventures throughout this challenging year has been a huge privilege, and it's so exciting to see that this community has continued to grow and evolve even throughout all the challenges that 2020 threw at us. I can't wait to see where we'll explore and what we find in 2021. But until then, I wish you all a new year of health, happiness, and adventure. This has been Zino of The Wild Report, signing out.